Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatam Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye. Hare Krishna. Reading this morning from the 8th canto, chapter 6, entitled The Demigods and Demons Declare a Truce. We have verses 21 to 28. So these verses have some short purports initially. So since we have a good number of verses, we'll just read the translations before coming to this verse, and then we will recite this verse together. Text 21. So the Lord is speaking to the Devatas. Immediately endeavor to produce nectar, which a person who's about to die may drink to become immortal. 22-23. O demigods, cast into the ocean of milk all kinds of vegetables, grass, creepers, and drugs. Then with my help, making Mandara mountain the churning rod and Vasuki the rope for churning, churn the ocean of milk with undiverted attention. Thus the demons will be engaged in labor, and you, the demigods, will gain the actual result, the nectar produced from the ocean. Purport. It appears that when different kinds of drugs, creepers, grass, and vegetables are put into this milk, and the milk is churned as milk is churned for butter, the active principles of the vegetables and drugs mix with the milk, and the result is nectar. Text 24. My dear demigods, with patience and peace, everything can be done. But if one is agitated by anger, the goal is not achieved. Therefore, whatever the demons ask, agree to their proposal. Text 25. A poison known as Kalakuta will be generated from the ocean of milk, but you should not fear it. And when various products are churned from the ocean, you should not be greedy for them or anxious to obtain them, nor should you be angry. Purport. It appears that by the churning process, many things would be generated from the ocean of milk, including poison, valuable gems, nectar, and many beautiful women. The demigods were advised, however, not to be greedy for the gems or beautiful women, but to wait patiently for the nectar. The real purpose was to get the nectar. Text 26. Shukdev Goswami continued, O King Parikshit, after advising the demigods in this way, the independent Supreme Personality of Godhead, the best of all living entities, disappeared from their presence. Text 27. Then Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, after offering their respectful obeisances to the Lord, returned to their abodes. All the demigods then approached Maharaj Bali. Then we have text 28. Drishtvarinapyasam asamyatang jatakshobhan svanayakam Nyasheda daityarat slokya Sandhi vigraha kalavet दृष्ट्वारिन्नप्य संयत्तान् जातक्षोभान् स्वनायकान् न्यसेधदैत्यराट् श्लोक्य सन्धिविग्रहकालवेत् दृष्ट्वारिन्नप्य संयत्तान् जातक्षोभान् स्वनायकान् न्यषेधदैत्यराट् श्लोक्य सन्धिविग्रहकालवेत् Mataji's. Word meaning? Drishtva, observing. Arin, the enemies. Api, although. Asamyatan, without any endeavor to fight. Jatakshobhan, who became agitated. Svanayakan, his own captains and commanders. Nyashedat, prevented. Daityarat, the emperor of the Daityas. Maharaj Bali. Shlokya, very respectable and prominent. Sandhi, for making negotiations. Vigraha, as well as for fighting. Kala, the time, with, completely aware of. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Maharaj Bali, a most celebrated king of the demons, knew very well when to make peace and when to fight. Thus, although his commanders and captains were agitated and were about to kill the demigods, Maharaj Bali, seeing that the demigods were coming to him without a militant attitude, forbade his commanders to kill them. Purport. Vedic etiquette enjoins Grihe Shatrum Api Praptam Vishwastam Akuto Bhayam. When enemies come to their opponent's place, they should be received in such a way that they will forget that there is animosity between the two parties. Bali Maharaj was well conversant with the arts of peacemaking and fighting. Thus he received the demigods very well, although his commanders and captains were agitated. This kind of treatment was prevalent even during the fight between the Pandavas and the Kurus. During the day, the Pandavas and Kurus would fight with the utmost strength, and when the day was over, they would go to each other's camps as friends and be received as such. During such friendly meetings, one enemy would offer anything the other enemy wanted. That was the system. Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauratvashe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. First of all, seeing the blessings of all the assembled devotees, so that we could discuss some valuable points on these verses from the Srimad Bhagavatam. So here we find that the Lord, after giving his very valuable advice to the demigods, so then the Lord departed, and as per the Lord's instructions, the demigods went to Bali Maharaj. So as Bali Maharaj, along with his soldiers, his ministers, everyone, they saw that their enemy was coming. So they thought that this is the right time to attack. But then Bali Maharaj, he told, no, it appears that they're not coming to attack. So, as mentioned here, he knew well when to make peace and when to fight. And so he forbade them from going ahead and attacking the demigods. Prabhupada in this purport is describing the Vedic etiquette of receiving guests. So here in this purport, Prabhupada is speaking on this theme of receiving guests. And there is another important theme in the Lord's instructions to the demigods, where the Lord especially instructs them that during the churning of the milk, there are many things that are going to come out. But don't be disturbed. Don't be agitated. Don't become affected by lust and anger. Be focused on your goal, and that is to get the nectar. So we'd like to discuss briefly on these two themes. The first one is on the Vaishnav etiquette or the Vedic etiquette, as Prabhupada says, of receiving guests. And the second theme we would like to discuss on is being focused on our goals. So regarding this etiquette of receiving guests, as we see here, Prabhupada is mentioning that the Vedic system was that even if an enemy would come, he would be welcomed in such a way that he would never feel as if he were an enemy. Rather, he would feel totally at home. Srila Prabhupada, in many of his purports, describes this Vedic etiquette of receiving guests. And of course, the Supreme Lord himself, as Sri Krishna, and also as Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, through their own activities, they set the example of how this etiquette is to be followed. In regards to this point of how, as Prabhupada is mentioning this point, that the Pandavas and the Kurus, how even though they would be fighting throughout the day, but in the evening, they'll be just like friends. In this regard, Prabhupada very often told the story of how when Bhishma Dev, when being provoked by Duryodhana that he's not fighting well because of affection for the Pandavas, then Bhishma keeps 5 arrows aside exclusively to kill the Pandavas, the 5 Pandavas the next day. And of course, Krishna is Paramatma, he knows everything. He told Arjuna, Bhishma Dev has this plan, so he has kept these 5 arrows with Duryodhana, go and take them. So he tells Arjuna, Arjuna immediately sets out for the Kauravas' camp. He goes to Duryodhana's tent, and as soon as Duryodhana sees him, he welcomes him. Just imagine, deadliest of enemies trying to kill each other in battle. But at this time, Duryodhana welcomes Arjuna. My dear Arjuna, please come. What do you want? You want the kingdom? I can give it without a fight. But that's not a Kshatriya. Kshatriya would never accept that. So Arjuna says, no, I don't want the kingdom now. But do you remember when you were caught by the Gandharvas, you had promised to give a benediction, and I said, well, I will ask it at the right time. So now is the time. So okay, so what's it? What do you want? And Arjuna says, 5 arrows. Exclusively reserved for killing the Pandavas, you have kept aside, given by Bhishma Dev. And Duryodhana could not refuse his promise which he had made. And so without a word, he gives those 5 arrows to Arjuna. And when Bhishma Dev, of course, when he comes to know, he understands that yes, this is the trick of Krishna. But the point here is, Prabhupada tells the story to make this point that, see, throughout the day they would fight, but then in the evenings they were like friends. That was the sporting spirit of the Kshatriyas. They fought as their duty, but at the same time they were behaving as friends. Also, the example is given during the fight between Jarasandha and Bhima. For 28 days they fought every day. Violent fighting. it's described that when they would fight with their clubs, and the clubs clashed against each other, there was sound like thundering. Violent fight throughout the day, trying to kill each other. But again, in the evening, friends sit together, dine together, talk together, as if nothing happened during the day. Isn't that amazing? No inimical grudges within the heart. They were just doing their duty, their dharma as Kshatriyas. That's all. And so Srila Prabhupada explains in his purpose about this etiquette, that how when a guest comes, so of course one must, according to one's capacity, welcome the guest heartily. When Sudama went to Dwaraka, we see how Krishna welcomed Sudama, his old friend Brahmana. As soon as Krishna sees Sudama from a distance, Krishna, he runs to greet him, embraces him, brings him to his palace, makes him sit on the same bed, washes his lotus feet, sprinkles that water on his head, and then anoints his body with sandalwood pulp, aguru, and then does arti for him. So Krishna showed through his own example how especially Brahmanas, Vaishnavas should be received. And then Rukmini Devi, the goddess of fortune, with a chamara, she was fanning him. And here was this poor Brahmana. It's described with torn clothes, so thin, his veins were visible. And here was the goddess of fortune serving him. The people of the palace were amazed, bewildered. What's happening? But then the Lord himself showed that etiquette. And here, in the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when the devotees from Bengal would come to Jagannath Puri every year, then Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself with his associates would go with garlands and sandalwood pulp to welcome the Vaishnavas. The Lord himself shows through his own example. So Srila Prabhupada describes that yes, because as Prabhupada said, when a guest comes to a temple, then it is he is or she is actually Krishna's guest. So what an important person that is. It's Krishna's guest. So then how we have to welcome that person? So therefore Prabhupada says the etiquette is that whatever is there within one's capacity to welcome that guest must be done. Especially then if it's a Brahmana or a Vaishnav. And if one does not have something very opulent, something very, very wonderful, but then at least one can offer some water and welcome the guest. If one does not have even that, then one can at least offer a sitting place. And if one does not have even that, which of course is quite unlikely, but still, Prabhupada mentions that if one does not have even that, then at least one can welcome The wonderful example in that regard is Bhishma Dev, as he was lying on the bed of arrows, and Krishna along with the Pandavas came. Bhishma Dev, obviously on the battlefield on a bed of arrows, what did he have to welcome his very important guests? The only thing he could offer was a smile and sweet words, that's all. And then Prabhupada mentions, if one cannot even do that for whatever reason, then the host with all the family members must simply fall at the feet and cry and beg for forgiveness for not being able to receive the guest. So in this way, Srila Prabhupada and the scriptures describe this very important etiquette of receiving guests, understanding that the guests are actually representing Krishna or are Krishna's guests. Now, here we find Lord Krishna, he gave some very valuable instructions to the Devatas before he left. And he told them that in this churning of milk, of the ocean of milk, he says, churn it with undiverted attention. And he says that many things are going to come, many valuable things, and some not so valuable things, some deadly things, like the poison, Kalakuta, many things are going to come. But don't be agitated. Don't be agitated by greed to acquire all these things, or don't become angry for the deadly things or not so valuable things that may come. Be fixed in the goal. Be fixed in the ultimate result that you want, and that is nectar. A very important principle the Lord is telling. In our attempts to achieve the goal, there could be many distractions, many diversions, many temptations. But the Lord is giving this important lesson. Don't be distracted. Be fixed in your attempts to achieve that goal. A very important principle. We find that even in the material world, if anyone wants to achieve something in life, then they are told, be focused. Students are told in schools and colleges, be focused in your studies. You want to achieve good grades, be focused. Or if one wants to be a great singer or a great sports star, film star, whatever it may be, great scientist, whatever it may be, one is told, be focused. There may be many distractions, but don't be distracted. And so therefore, that's always a great challenge. Here, the demigods and the demons together are trying to achieve their goal, that is the nectar. But then there are going to be many things which may distract them from that goal. So therefore, even in the practices of spiritual life, we have a goal to achieve. We also have some nectar to get. So what is the nectar we are all looking for? Yes, Krishna Prem. We are also looking for that nectar. We are also endeavoring to get that nectar. But then the important point is that yes, as we are trying to achieve this nectar, there could be many temptations, many distractions. But as Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, be focused. Vyavasayatmika buddhi ekeha kurunandana bahushakahi antasya buddhayo vyavasayina. Be focused. In the Mahabharata, there is the story, which you may have heard, of Dronacharya and his students. After Dronacharya gave his lessons on archery, so he was going to test them. If one wants to know how much somebody has learned, they have to be tests. Though nobody may like tests and exams, but what to do? So Dronacharya wanted to test his students how much they've learned. And so he called them. And so on the tree, on the branch of a tree, he had kept a bird, an artificial bird. And he was calling one by one his students to see what they have learnt. And so it was Duryodhana's turn. So he first asked him, "What do you see?" And Duryodhana replied, "Gurudev, I see the tree, I see the leaves, I see the branches, I see the birds, and I see you." He wanted to impress his guru. So, but Dronacharya was not impressed. He said, wait. And so he was calling different students and they were saying different things. And then when he called Arjuna, asked Arjuna, "What do you see?" And Arjuna replied, "I see the eye of the bird." And Dronacharya asked, "What else do you see?" "Nothing else. Only the eye of the bird. That's all." Then Dronacharya said, "Okay, then shoot." And then when Arjuna released his arrow straight on the eye of the bird. So that's being focused on the goal, not being distracted. So we find that as here the Lord is saying, two important distractions are karma, greed for so many material things that may come on the path towards success. And then when one does not get them, the result is krodha, anger. These are important obstacles on the path. But then, if one is focused on what one wants to achieve, on the goal, then even though the distractions may be there, but still one will go ahead in the pursuit of trying to achieve that goal. One will be focused on the essence. In this regard, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur told a story. So once a guru went to his disciple's house, and the disciple offered him a wonderful feast. And at the end of the feast, as a digestive mouth freshener, what do we must say? The disciple offered the guru haritaki. You know haritaki? May you heard of it? So it's said to be a good digestive Ayurvedic medicine, quite famous, haritaki. So he brought them on a plate. The guru said, "Okay, give me what is most essential and discard what's not." So the disciple, who was speculating, he thought, well, the essence is usually in the middle. What's outside is not so important usually. So he peeled it off. He peeled the fruit, the skin he threw. And what was in the middle, he kept them on a plate and brought before the guru. But in the case of haritaki, it said it is the skin part which is more valuable, not the seed. And so he brought the seeds to the Guru. The Guru said, "What's this?" The disciple said, "Guru Maharaj, this is what's in the middle. This is most essential." Guru said, "No, you foolish fellow. It is the skin which is important, not the seeds." "Oh, I'm sorry." So, next day again, he offered a feast to the Guru. At the end, this time, he changed the menu. And this time he got cardamom. You know cardamom? And commonly called elaichi. But he had learnt his lesson. What's in the center is to be thrown, and what's on the outside you offer. So he did that. So he threw what was in the center, the peels carefully kept on the plate. Guru Maharaj. Guru, seeing that, he picked up one. He saw it was just peels, nothing inside. He said, "Oh no, what have you done?" "Gurudev, you instructed me yesterday." The Guru said, "You're foolish. You don't understand what is the essence." Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur tells the story to make this point. If we don't understand what is the essence, what is the goal, then we will be distracted by something which is not the goal. Therefore, first of all, one has to understand what is the goal. One has to have knowledge of what is the goal. If one doesn't understand, if one doesn't know it, then obviously one cannot achieve it. So first of all, one has to have the knowledge of what is the essence, what is the goal. And then be focused in simply trying to achieve that. So we find on the path of spirituality also, we have so many different examples of those in their spiritual pursuits. As they're trying to achieve their spiritual goals, they got distracted and they couldn't achieve their goals in spite of years and years and years of endeavor. The common examples which Srila Prabhupada gave was of Vishwamitra Muni. 60,000 years of tapasya, but then got distracted by Menaka. He lost all his tapobal. And then once again, he sat to do his tapasya, his meditation. And then there was Ramba who came. And then this time he got angry and turned her into a stone, and once again lost his power. We also have the example of Saubhari Muni. Years of tapasya within water, but got distracted simply by the mating of fish. And there's so many others. So in the spiritual pursuits, one could be distracted by so many different distractions. Especially in this age of Kali, which is full of distractions. So many external distractions which influence our consciousness, creating internal distractions. And so, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in his teachings to Sanatana Goswami, describes what is that essence which we must look for, and what could be the distractions in trying to get that essence, in trying to get that treasure. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Abhideya Nama Bhakti Prema Prayojan Purushartha Shiromani Prema Mahadhan. Mahaprabhu says that in the Abhideya, in the process of devotional service, the Prayojan is Prema. That is the Purushartha Shiromani. the topmost wealth which one could achieve. It is the Mahadhan, the greatest wealth, that is Prem. That's the greatest wealth which we are looking for as we are practicing the Abhideya of Bhakti. And in order to instruct Sanatana Goswami and all of us how one should not be distracted, he describes a story. And he tells the story of the astrologer named as Sarvagya, who approached a poor man who was in a distressed condition. So the poor man was distressed because he was thinking, I'm so poor, I don't have any wealth. Just like the conditioned souls who are thinking we are poor, not understanding the great wealth that they actually have. So then Sarvagya tells this poor man, actually your father has left a great treasure, but you don't know because he has left it in some other place. As you're looking for this treasure in this place, don't dig on the southern side, because there you will be bitten by the wasps and the bees. Don't dig on the western side, because there you'll be troubled by a ghost. And don't dig on the northern side, because there's a deadly black serpent which will annihilate you. Dig on the eastern side. There, simply by removing a few layers of dirt, you will find this treasure. Srila Prabhupada in his purport describes, quoting Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, that on the southern side, the bees and the wasps represent karmakant, material desires for fruitive results, which seem lucrative, attractive, but simply cause pain by their stinging, because material desires can never be fulfilled. On the western side, the ghost, which is going to trouble one, represents the Jnanakant, mental speculation, which simply leads to trouble and nothing more. On the northern side, the black serpent, which is going to annihilate one's existence, represents the desire for mukti, sayuja mukti, annihilating one's existence. So in other words, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is telling Sanatana Goswami, don't be distracted by fruitive material desires, karma. Don't be distracted by jnana, mental speculation, and the desire for liberation. Be focused on the goal of trying to achieve the ultimate Mahadhan, and that is Premadhan. Be focused in trying to achieve that. Don't be distracted. And we find the examples in the scriptures and even contemporary times of devotees who remain focused in trying to get that nectar, that ultimate treasure. In that connection, as here we are describing the churning of the milk ocean, there was a devotee who tried to cross a great ocean. In the Ramayana, we have the example of Hanuman, who tried to cross this great ocean, the Indian Ocean. And he was crossing that ocean to please Lord Ram to find Mother Sita. As he was on this mission, there were obstacles, there were temptations. Essentially, it's described that there were three main distractions for Hanuman. The first one was Menaka, a beautiful golden mountain. As Hanuman was soaring in the skies, this beautiful mountain rose from the ocean, and told Hanuman, please take some rest, relax, and then you can go. But Hanuman said, no time for rest. I'm on a mission. So therefore, I must go. So this golden mountain represents the material desires, especially Kanaka, Kamini and Pratishta. The desire for wealth, the desire for enjoyment with the opposite sex, and Pratishta, the desire for distinction. And so as long as one has all these desires, then one gets tempted, one tries to achieve them, one cannot focus on one's goal. As Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Bhogeshwarya prasaktanam taya parata chetasam vyavasayatmika buddhi samadho na vidiyate. The vyavasayatmika buddhi cannot be there if one is distracted by bhoga and aishwarya, the desire for wealth and material opulence. So therefore, Hanuman, he didn't get distracted. He said, okay, but to honor that offer, Hanuman just touched the mountain and said, okay, goodbye, I'm going. So, no time for laziness, no scope for laziness if one is determined to achieve the goal. As Hanuman was going ahead, there was the leader of the serpents, Naga, Surasa. And she appeared out of the ocean, huge, monstrous size. And she said, Brahma has given a benediction. No one can cross my path without entering my mouth, without me killing them. So her mouth was some 4 yojanas wide. Hanuman increased his size to 8 yojanas. Surasa increased her size to 8 yojanas. Hanuman increased his size to 16 yojanas. And then finally, Hanuman became small, like a mosquito, entered Surasa's mouth, went right into her stomach, came out and said, yes, I've honored Brahma's words. I've entered your mouth. So now give me blessings so that I can achieve my goal. And so Surasa said, yes, you have fulfilled the Brahma's benediction. So the Surasa represents the great obstacle on the path of devotional service, and that is pride. Pride comes before the fall. Therefore, Hanuman showed how to tackle this by becoming small with humility. And that's the important lesson of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Trinadapi sunichena tarorapi saishnana amanina manadena kirtaniya sadahari. That's what attracts the mercy of the Lord. And as Hanuman was going ahead, there was this another monster named as Samika. And she had a benediction that she could hold on to anyone's shadow and pull them down. The shadow represents one's darker side. Those who have envy, they hook on to the darker sides, very interested in finding faults in others. That's what envy does. When there is envy, one wants to see the faults, the bad qualities, and try to pull them down. That's what envy does. So the Samika was trying to do that, holding on to Hanuman's shadow and trying to pull him down. He could not move. That's what Shishupal was doing. Even though the Supreme Personality of God had no faults, Shishupal, out of his envy, was even able to find faults in the Supreme Lord. That's what envy does. And so what did Hanuman do? He entered her mouth, went right to her heart and ripped her heart apart, killed her and went away. That's how we deal with envy, by totally subduing it. That's the only way. And then Hanuman went ahead to Lanka. And then, of course, at the entrance, had to deal with Lankini at the entrance. And then went to Mother Sita, gave the message, and after that, did some extra service. Because he wanted to have darshan of Ravan. So he created some damage, and Ashokvan was brought before Ravana, and then Ravana had him captured. His tail was tied with cloth, put on fire, and then Hanuman, he expanded his size, released himself from the ropes, and then went from house to house burning Lanka. But then he achieved his goal. He was not distracted by the various distractions on the path. Srila Prabhupada, he had a goal. His instruction, the instruction of his spiritual master. In fact, Srila Prabhupada was inspired by Srila Vishwanath Thakur's commentary on the verse Vyavasayatmika Buddhi, making the instruction of the spiritual master as one's life and soul. And Srila Prabhupada crossed not one ocean, he crossed two. The Arabian Sea and the Atlantic Ocean. And there he went. He went in a challenging place, the capital of Maya. And he went there to find Mother Sita, to release Sita, Bhakti Devi, from the hearts of the conditioned souls, being engulfed, being tormented by the Ravana-like anarthas. And Srila Prabhupada, on the way we know, so many obstacles, 2 heart attacks, no money, no contacts, so many difficulties, but Srila Prabhupada went to achieve his goal, to fulfill the order of his spiritual master. And there, he went there, and then, just like Hanuman was putting fire one house to the other, Srila Prabhupada, he was lighting the fire of bhakti throughout the world. Went from place to place, lighting that fire of bhakti, and engulfed the whole world in Krishna consciousness, in the chanting of the holy names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thus, as the Lord is telling the Devatas over here, be fixed in your goal. So, in our parts of devotional service, without being distracted, if we are also fixed in trying to please Srila Prabhupada, the Acharyas, and ultimately the Supreme Lords, not being affected by lust, greed, and anger, which are various obstacles which will come on the path. If we are fixed on the goal, on the essence of Prema Dhan, then by the mercy of Guru and Krishna, we will be successful in achieving that goal. Thank you very much. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Samved Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna. Sorry, we don't have any time for questions. If you have any, you can personally ask me. Hare Krishna.